It's not about politics, it's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. We're just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome back to It's Just Football. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Mike Renner. Dude, did we have to wear the exact same colored shirt?
I even saw you leaving today and didn't even think about it.
It's on you.
That one's on
It's
me.
on you. I left first. You could have
changed.
changed.
The logo. I have to rep the comp.
It's true. He's a company man this morning. I don't know. I just have a pocket. But anyways, appreciate you guys joining the show. Hopefully you're out there wearing gray because then you'll be matching us. We're going to have a lot of fun here on this show. We got 4 playoff games to talk about. We're each given 2 matchups, so we're looking forward to for every single game, which means 4 total points for every single game, 4 games. A lot of football info that we got here on this show. We're also going to give you our bold predictions as well as we do on Friday every single week, and we're going to have some fun going back and forth with everybody in the chat. Mike, other than matching what I'm wearing, how you feeling today, my friend?
Feeling great. Ready to preview this divisional round. Divisional round last year was the best divisional round ever that I've ever seen, at least. So hopefully we can top that.
It can only be better.
I don't know if you can, though. That one was insane last year.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
As the years go on, you can only get better. That's how life works, right? Every year is completely better, no matter what, across the board.
I mean, like, philosophically, kind of. There's kind of something true to that, but maybe not in the NFL.
Okay. All right. We'll stick with the positives here on this Friday. Let's get the production portal guys into the show. Quinn, Sav, Eli, how are we feeling this morning, fellas?
Look at Saab. He's got gray on.
There it is.
Oh, great.
There it is.
I don't think I have any gray on.
You losers didn't get the memo.
I'm wearing the same shit that I wear.
Can I just say?
It's always laundry day.
No, I did laundry yesterday. It's clean.
Can I just say that we've got a little back and forth going on in the chat right now? There's a debate of which Eli is the best. Okay, the first one is production portal Eli better than Eli Apple? And it seemed like a lot of people agreed that
certainly
production portal Eli was better.
Last Sunday Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say at my job, I feel like I'm better day in and day out.
Okay.
They said production portal Eli has a better overall grade than Eli Apple.
I would agree with that.
The Birmingham said portal Eli is the second best Eli behind only Eli Manning.
I'll take that. That's really good company to be in, honestly.
Eli Manning might have something to do with the question of the day today.
Oh. Good segue. What is
it?
Maybe.
How many bodies does Eli Apple's mom have on Twitter after going after people?
Survive in America.
No, Eli Manning.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, what is
number one? Eli.
What is the question
Manning,
today?
Nagel, Apple.
Okay.
Question of the day is who holds the PFF single season record for most turnover-worthy plays in the season, regular and postseason?
Wow. What is the PFF record for most turnover-worthy plays in a single season?
That's a good question. Obviously, Eli Manning will be in the mix. I'd put him top 5 somewhere.
Jameis, brother.
Will be in the mix.
Jameis.
Andrew Luck had some seasons early on in his career where he would be in the mix. I think who had just like super. Jay Cutler probably had some seasons that would put him in the mix. Let's see, we started 06.
I like Manning. I like Cutler. Did Phillip Rivers have I feel like Rivers was a bit of a risk taker, but I don't feel like he had that many turnover-worthy plays.
No, I don't think.
I don't think he would have been up there.
Yeah.
Jameis. Man, I'd bet either Jameis or Andrew Luck.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of just any other names that would come to mind as like had a year where.
A lot of people were saying Jameis. Zach says Drew Lock, but Drew Lock hasn't played enough. There's no way Drew Lock's played enough.
And I'm trying to think because turnover. People used to have more turnovers. Like in the mid 2000s, it was more common. I'll say.
Right. Oh,
So
Nathan Peterman.
Like early.
No, Nathan Peterman.
He never got a full season.
But if he did, it would have been scorched earth.
1 to 11.
This is total turnover-worthy plays, not turnover-worthy play rate.
So who was?
Right. Okay.
Who were some bad QBs?
Favre. We got a couple of
Favre had that
Favres.
Jets season where he probably was in the mix.
Blake Bortles.
Bortles is the kind of guy who'd be in the mix.
Oh man, Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
But then, like when you're too bad, they don't let you throw, right?
Right.
That's why Jameis, Luck are the sweet spot where they're good enough that they get to throw 650 times a year, but bad enough or just like inconsistent enough that they're going to throw it to the other team a lot.
I think it's going to be Winston.
Okay. I'm going to go Luck. I'm going to lead Luck.
Matt says Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin.
Oh, yeah. That's a good Eli.
What did you do, Eli?
I operate the PFF YouTube.
He invents the topic bars.
People would say that's comparable, I would think. Impact of humanity, I believe, advancing this show technologically.
I think we're neck and neck.
Yeah, and then advancing just I think the entire world agriculturally. I'd say it's pretty even. I would say that's pretty even. So yeah, I mean Eli Manning's still number 1, and then I'm still production portal Eli is number 2.
I mean, yeah, Manning it was 2 Super Bowls. I mean, I can't compete with that.
What about the Book of Eli?
Never seen that movie.
Neither have I.
Solid.
Is it solid?
It's entertaining.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's good.
Still
it's entertaining.
I would probably want a little bit better than solid.
It's worth a watch. It's worth
all right.
90 minutes of your time.
Watch.
They didn't actually have an Eli play him. That's why it wasn't as good.
It was you. Philip said Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger was the only other one.
Okay, I can see that. But I don't think it'd surprise me. I'd be surprised if it was Roethlisberger.
We'll give our final answers at the end of the show. Caleb says Jameis seems to be too obvious. I kind of admit.
I do like the Rex Grossman call-up. Rex Grossman's a good call-up. Man. But again, he's the one where, like, those Bears teams, they knew he sucked, ran the shit out of the ball.
Right. Jameis threw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I've never even looked this up. I never even looked up how many turnover-worthy plays Jameis actually had in the season. I maybe just try to burn it out of my memory.
Yeah.
Try to forget.
I
covered it. I was working for Pewter Report at the time.
Uh-huh.
I remember being in the press box for that final interception, that pick 6 in overtime, Week 17 against the Atlanta Falcons, for it to be a true 30 for 30 season.
30. Legendary.
What a magical time.
What was the vibe like in the stadium then? Because I remember when that happened. Cheers, booze, shock.
It was very weird. I'll say, like, the press box, we were all, it was simultaneous. You knew it was about to happen, and yet you couldn't believe it. It was one of those things that was very weird to explain, where the second it happened, everybody in the room was like, oh my God, it happened.
Yeah.
It actually happened. But at the same time, we've already got our stories written and everything, so you already know what you're about to say.
Yeah.
You know the interception's coming. It was just a matter of when.
Disappoint was the headline before it even happened.
Yeah. Didn't have to cancel the story after that one. Thankfully, we're not going to talk about Jameis Winston being on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers very much here on this show, because we're going to preview all these games that we have for the divisional round. Mike, the way that we're going to do this, we're going to preview it by giving 2 matchups that we're looking forward to for every single game. We'll start in the AFC, and we'll start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm going to give you give one, I'll give one, and we'll kind of go back and forth before we get on to the next game. In the Chiefs-Jags game, what's your first matchup that you're really looking forward to?
My first matchup that I'm looking forward to is Chris Jones against the Jaguars offensive guards. Because Trevor Lawrence has one of the biggest gaps between clean pocket performance and under pressure performance of any quarterback in the NFL this season. Top 5 in clean pocket performance. He has been tremendous. Bottom 10, I believe, in pressured performance in terms of PFF grades. So there's been a big gap. And now he's been better under pressure of late, but still, that's going to be massive because it is just Chris Jones. That Chiefs defensive line, if they're getting after the passer, it is because it's Chris Jones. And so guys like Tyler Shatley, guys like Brandon Scherff have to show the F up if the Jaguars have a chance to win this game. Shatley, 70.3 pass blocking grade this season. Scherff, 64.1. So capable, but you're going to have to game plan to stop this guy. That's all I'm going to say. That's the matchup that will decide if the Jags can move the ball or not.
I looked this up this morning, actually. Trevor Lawrence, when the pocket is completely clean, no pressure against him, 91.4 PFF passing grade.
That's good. That's
an
good
elite
grade.
Passing grade. Yeah. When pressured, 30.9.
Huh. That's bad.
One of the lowest grades.
That's Zach Wilson territory.
That 60-point gap is wild for a quarterback. It's got to be a little bit closer than that. I understand pressure gets to everybody, but holy cow, there is no doubt about it. If you're getting to it, especially from Chris Jones, and I think that's a really good point, especially for Chris Jones, if he's getting in your face early, right up the middle, then that's something that could kill him. My first one that I want to go to, I'll go to the other side of the ball. I'll also talk about pressure, but I'll talk about when getting to Patrick Mahomes. Now, Patrick Mahomes doesn't crumble under pressure the same way that Trevor Lawrence has over this past year, but Jags pass rushers, specifically I'll say Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker versus the Chiefs offensive tackles Orlando Brown Jr. and Andrew Wiley. Both of those two players, Brown Jr. and Wiley, are in the, whether you want to call it top 10, bottom 10, whatever it is, they've given up the most pressures in the NFL. Wiley's given up 49. Orlando Brown's given up 46. Those are both bottom 10 numbers of all offensive linemen, not just offensive tackles. So these guys have really struggled to not let up pressure all year long. Josh Allen had 67 pressures this year, 17.5 pass rush win percentage. Trayvon Walker, as you would expect, he's a rookie, 36 pressures, only an 11.0% pass rush win percentage. But it's not just him. You know, Roy Robertson Harris is in that mix, Arden Key is in that mix, and how the Jags kind of scheme up their pressure packages against the Chiefs' offensive tackles, I think is going to be huge for them. They were tied for number one in the NFL last week as a team, total pressures in the wild card weekend, and I think that that's going to have to be something they do again this week. If they're going to stand a chance against Kansas City, you've got to get Mahomes on the ground. You got to rattle him somehow.
I will say this: Orlando Brown Jr. versus Trayvon Walker. That to me, I think, is a win for the Chiefs because that's the type of edge rusher that Brown tends to lock down. The long power guys are the ones that he basically like are his bread and butter because he is massive and he has good hand usage, good technique, he can drop anchor. That's the kind of guy he can beat one-on-one consistently, whereas the Trey Hendricksons of the world are the ones that give him troubles. The pure edge benders, the guys that want to get low and get around the edge are the ones that he tends to struggle with. Obviously why the Chiefs tend to struggle with this Bengals defense as well. So the other side, though, is the one where it's like Josh Allen versus Andrew Wiley is a mismatch. That's one they're probably going to have to account for.
That's going to be tough. And the Jags do a really great job of just having total pressure on the defense. Like you get Rayshon Jenkins coming in from the safety spot. You can get the linebackers coming in to give you some pressures as well. So Jags have been fantastic so far this year, dialing up all different kinds of pressures. How they're going to attack those offensive tackles, I think, are going to be specific. But, to your point about Orlando Brown Jr. and Trayvon Walker, no, he's not like a pure edge bender, but this dude is explosive. So if they go into this week with a game plan of just like, hey, man, attack the outside shoulder. Just go attack the outside shoulder. He's not going to be able to beat you to the spot. Yeah. Maybe they do still have that advantage. Possibly. So we'll see. What's your second point?
My second one, kind of a boring matchup. It's just Trevor Lawrence versus Patrick Mahomes. Two quarterbacks, two elite quarterbacks playing right now, going head-to-head. Who's going to blink first? Trevor Lawrence didn't blink last week. Going to come into this week ready to play. I just want to see good quarterback. And we saw it last time, truthfully, in that game. Even though the Jags offense didn't move it, I thought Trevor Lawrence, that was one of his breakout games where it's like, oh, that was real deal, high-end NFL quarterback play. I hope the stats match this week because, one, I have a lot of prop bets on Trevor Lawrence going over in this game. And two, I just want to see a close game. So that's the matchup that I just want to see two elite quarterbacks. That's what you live for in the playoffs. This is what you want to see. Very similar to last year's divisional round game of Pat Mahomes going against Josh Allen.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think everybody would love to see it, other than Chiefs fans, which would maybe just rather see their team roll by 40. I think everybody wants to see a close game, and I don't know if I believe this, but I'm hoping that the last two games that Trevor Lawrence played, he kind of got it out of his system a little bit. Because let's face it, game versus Titans, he left throws out there. Yeah. He was not as sharp as he needed to be. Clearly, in the first half against the Chargers, he was not what he needed to be as a quarterback. And that's how you started those games. So those nerves are there. And I hope they're kind of out of his system at this point. I hope Trevor Lawrence truly goes into this thinking they're playing with house money. It doesn't matter. Nobody thought that they were going to get to the divisional round anyways. Nobody even thought they were going to make the playoffs, basically, I would say a month ago. So I hope he has that mindset. I really hope it is a great back and forth between those two guys because it's going to be a great experience for him either way. But I'd love to see these two young arms really going at it like that. I'm going to go to another offensive weapon for the Jags that I've got my eye on, Travis Etienne. Okay, so Travis Etienne last week had 109 rushing yards. He had 58 of those rushing yards before contact. So that it was a 46.8% of his rushing yards came before anybody even touched him. I think it's going to be huge going up against the Chiefs' run fits and their linebackers specifically. Chiefs got to stay disciplined in this one, because if you let a guy like Travis Etienne get into the high 40s, low 50s of yards he is accumulating before contact, you're playing with fire, because this is a guy who, if you get into the open field and you give him space, if you give him that rush lane, he has the speed to break it loose. We've seen it so many times already this season. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. Can the Chiefs linebackers, can their front stay disciplined in their run fits in this game, more so than the Chargers were last game? And honestly, a lot of the Jags opponents have been throughout the season, because it feels like the Jags are pretty solid in really setting Travis Etienne up to get to that open space, to get that momentum, to get all that speed going. That's something that I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Chiefs looked up this morning, 20th in the NFL in terms of average depth of tackle against running backs. So bottom half of the league, not the worst in the league, but it is something that if you give a guy like Travis Etienne an inch, if you don't block things up the way that they need to, sometimes that can be the difference between a massive run.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Doug Peterson trying to get a lot of runs out to the edge, obviously Travis Etienne, and that's obviously been a big part of their game plan all year long, but I think especially in this game, because guys like Nick Bolton on that second level for the Chiefs defense, he wants to get flowing right downhill. He wants to be into your backfield quickly, and so not letting him do that takes away a big part of his game as a run defender that I do think they could have success on the ground in this one.
Meta said ETNT as a nickname.
ETNT.
Not bad. Also, classic rock, which we've already talked about here on this show. Great tailgating music, so I'm all for it. Nice job, Meta. Nice job. Let's move on to Bengals-Bills, the other AFC game. What is your first key matchup that you were looking forward to in this game?
My key matchup to watch is one Sam Hubbard, hero from a week ago.
Indeed.
Going up against Spencer Brown, the right tackle for the Buffalo Bills, in the 5th lowest graded pass blocking offensive tackle in the NFL this season.
Wow.
Now, it gets mitigated because Josh Allen's mobility, but even last week, Jalen Phillips was going to town on him. That is the weak link. That is the spot you can exploit. I think you're going to see a guy like Sam Hubbard have one of his best days that he's had all season long, because I think he's the type of rusher that can consistently, or is at least he is a rush lane type of rusher that is not going to let Josh Allen get outside the pocket on it, or at least going to rush in a manner that is going to try to contain Josh Allen in the pocket. So I do think that that's going to, you're not going to see as many sort of Josh Allen breaking out to the right side that he does last week when Spencer Brown was giving up a lot of pressure. I think you're going to see Sam Hubbard have multiple sacks in this game, I would bet.
Obviously, the front four for the Cincinnati Bengals is going to be huge. I think the story of this game is going to come down to the Bengals in the trenches. And, we'll get to talking about the offensive line a little bit in a second, but how the Bengals are able to, I would say, survive with their offensive line, and then how they are able to attack with their defensive line, I think is going to go a long way into this game. I know it's an obvious trenches win football games, but it's huge in this one, specifically given who's in there and who is not for the Cincinnati Bengals. The first matchup that I'm looking forward to seeing is Kyrie Elam, the Bills cornerback, versus the Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins specifically. Kyrie Elam, hell of a game last week. 88.9 grade in coverage, had an interception, had another forced incompletion. On 4 total targets, he only gave up 1 catch for 2 total yards. The guy was locked down all week. He played his best game of the season, I feel like, in the playoffs, and you absolutely love to see that, warming things up there. But I feel as though Buffalo finally, we've been asking them to get another CB2 opposite Tre'Davious White for so long. They finally, I don't want to say take the bait, but make the decision to go get a guy like Kyrie Elam. And I believe this week brings the kind of matchup as to why. Right, Kyrie Elam, just under 6'2", so he's a bigger, taller, lankier corner. He has the opportunity to go up against a guy like T. Higgins, who's 6'4", a lot bigger. Now, of course, there are smaller corners that will go up against T. Higgins, but you want to try to mitigate that height discrepancy as much as possible. And especially when you have a guy who is big and tall like Kyrie Elam is, he can bring that combination of measurables and skills to the field, really be able to mitigate an area of T. Higgins' game as a contested catch guy, as a long catch radius player that could really go into shutting him down. He had a little bit of a quiet week last week, T. Higgins did, but we know that he is a wide receiver who'd go for 100 any given week. If Kyrie Elam is able to really get in his face and shut him down a little bit, that's going to be something that I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be able to turn into a massive swing in their favor. Is mitigating that kind of a big matchup.
Yeah, one of the things to watch in that matchup is that the Bills are a press coverage team. They are, no matter what, even when they do have had backups in there all season, they want their corners to get up and slow the wide receivers down for the opposing teams. Chiefs are too. And I think it's one of the reasons why we see the Bengals consistently roll this Chiefs defense, and obviously in the one drive that they had against the Buffalo Bills, go down and score touchdowns, because I don't want to come and press these wide receivers. Pressing Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd is a dangerous game that you're going to be playing. I'm very curious to see if we will see them change that up in this matchup and not go with nearly as much press coverage, because those guys just eat when they are matched up against corners at the line of scrimmage. They are just too difficult. They're too talented to consistently get away with that.
All right, what's your next point here?
My next one is just going to be Joe Burrow under pressure, because everyone and their mother knows that's going to be something that dictates the outcome of this game. Now, 7th highest graded quarterback under pressure this season, but also the 8th highest sack conversion rate under pressure, which means a lot of times when he's under pressure, he is not getting rid of the ball, just dumping it like, Tom Brady is the king of. He's taking sacks in those situations. So those big plays, the sacks in this game, could be drive killers, and Burrow avoiding those is going to be a massive, massive thing to watch for the Bengals and keep him on schedule.
Yeah, I totally agree. He is somebody who takes more sacks than other quarterbacks do, and he's talked about it before. Sometimes you got to live. Sometimes you got to live with it, but quarterback's on the ball with the ground, or if the quarterback is on the ground with the ball, is how I should have said that. Obviously, the play is over. There's nothing can happen after that, and Burrow happens to do that quite a bit. So I do think that is a matchup that you definitely have to look forward to. And I guess along the same light of it, Greg Rousseau versus the offensive tackles is my next one. You've got Jackson Carman starting at left tackle. You've got Hakeem Adeniji starting at right tackle. You got Greg Rousseau, who has been really good all year long. He's got a pass rush grade above 80, leads the Buffalo Bills in pressures. He's just a weird matchup. He's a tough matchup for anybody. The size, the measurables, he's so big. The arms are so long. He's just so tough to stay in front of. He's very difficult to block in that regard for any starting offensive tackle, let alone 2 backups that are going to be going up against him. We know the Bills like to get creative along their offensive line as well, how they're attacking the pocket. And those 2 offensive tackles, unfortunately, are going to tell the story for the Cincinnati Bengals. I hate it. I'm with you guys. I hate that we are at this point, but unfortunately, injuries are a part of the game, and for some teams, they get bit with the injury bug at the worst times. And it feels like the Bengals are. They're missing Alex Kappa as well. So down 3 starting offensive linemen. Shoot, man. If you're down 1 starting offensive lineman in the playoffs, it's tough, let alone 3. So if those guys are all able to step up and Cincinnati's able to pull this one out, it's going to be one of the most incredible offensive line performances that we have seen this year. So that's a matchup. Just the Bills' defensive line overall, but specifically how these backups are going to kind of block a very unique pass rusher in Greg Rousseau.
Yeah, you could pretty much throw every other matchup in this game out the window. That if this one goes kind of the way everyone thinks it's going to go, which is Bills domination, it's over. The Bills win this game. So the Bengals have to find a way to mitigate the fact that they have 3 stars missing on this offensive line.
I know we don't have picks in the sheet, but who would be your picks in this game?
Who are we leaning? So the first one I am going Chiefs, but Jags to cover. Sure. This one I'm going Bills and Bills to cover.
Oh no!
I know.
What's the final line of the Chiefs game?
Was it 5.5? Is what it started. I don't know what it is now.
For the Chiefs or for the Bills?
Oh, excuse me. Chiefs was 8.5.
No, I think the Chiefs win and the Chiefs cover.
Okay.
And then I think the Bills win, but I do think the Bengals cover. I think it's going to be closer to 5.5. I think it's going to be tight.
Okay.
I think this game's going to be real tight, but I do think the Bills win this game. Quinn, are you still there, or did you quit?
I don't. That's not a bad pick.
I did love.
I'm not as confident as I would have been, 3-4 weeks ago. But
had your offensive line still been standing?
I did love the soundbite I heard from Joe Burrow today about going on the road and being 5.5-point dogs. He said, "I never feel like an underdog," and I love that, because a lot of people try to hype themselves up as underdogs, but Joe Burrow said, "No, I'm never an underdog."
Yeah, specifically the University of Georgia. Did you see all the quotes after the game? They're like, they all doubted who.
Third-ranked.
Who doubted you? That honestly, that magic act by Kirby Smart to get a team of a historic team that was national champions, for them to return as many guys as they were able to return, and for the talent that they had filling in for those players that did leave, for him to get those guys to believe that people actually doubted Georgia going into the year. masterful.
Yeah.
You had guys after that national championship, like, they said we were going to go 7-5. Who?
Oh yeah, I did say that. 7-5.
Somebody said we were going to go 7-5.
You have like 5 more first-round draft picks on the team. 7-5.
No. So Joe Burrow's the opposite. Joe Burrow never believes he's an underdog.
Yeah.
That's I mean. All right, let's head over to the NFC. Let's do Giants-Eagles.
Yes.
What is your first matchup that you're looking forward to with Giants-Eagles?
My first matchup to watch is crossing routes against the Eagles linebackers. If you watch the Giants at all, you know they master. They have a PhD in running across the football field with guys wide open. You know, that is the offense. The offense is meant to break your coverage rules on a consistent basis. They are the crossing route kings, 5th most of any team in the NFL this season. But obviously, like, Daniel Jones only had 3,500 yards. So the highest percentage of their passing yards came on crossing routes of any team in the NFL this season, 17.8. Eagles, though, middle of the field, are incredibly sound. Those guys are disciplined. Guys like TJ Edwards, who was a PFF All-Pro that we forgot in the trivia question. Only 8 catches on 124 yards on crossers all season. They don't mess up passing those across. You know, they're not screwing up mesh. They've seen it a zillion times. So that'll be a good matchup to watch. Is who does the Giants offense continue the mastery, or did the Eagles linebacker say, hey, we've seen this before, we'll see it again, and we'll shut it down? So that'll be something to watch.
Obviously, it makes it a very good matchup. I'm going to go to the Giants run game. Okay, in the wild card, obviously this is an area that the Giants definitely like to boast. In the wild card game against the Minnesota Vikings, Saquon Barkley had an 82.7 rushing grade. Matt Breida, in his limited time in the backfield, still 74.8, very efficient rush grade. And then Daniel Jones, 72.0 rush grade. This is a full stable of players who can all advance the ball very well on the ground. And the Giants know this, and they go to it often. Eagles, 64.5 run defense grade. That's 16th in the NFL. But then when it comes to EPA per rush, so a little bit more situational context into it, they're 27th in defending the run. So that is ultimately why I think the Giants make this a close game. You look at what the Giants are able to do. If you can run the ball with a lot of success, you're not just moving the ball forward. That is only one element of what you are doing when you can run the ball really well. Another part of what you're doing is you are keeping the other team's offense, potent offenses the Eagles have, off the field. You are controlling the clock. You are controlling the game. You are controlling possession. And especially if Philly comes out of the gate, I don't want to say cold, but like if they're not firing all cylinders right away, like if it's okay, they had a week off, they're still getting back into it, it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get things together. If the Giants can control this game more than other teams have been able to against the Philadelphia Eagles, maybe you are stealing a possession or two away from Philadelphia. They're taking a little bit longer to warm up in this game. That goes into it too. All of a sudden, this isn't necessarily the blowout that a lot of people are believing that it could be. I just feel as though for as strong as the Giants' run game has been, not just all season, but certainly as of late, and for how it has been a little bit of a weak link for the Eagles at times so far this year, it could be a recipe where this game is a lot closer throughout than a lot of people want to admit or are predicting. So that's my first point.
Yeah, my next one is in almost the exact same vein, but it is the option runs. These two teams, Eagles ran the most option runs, read option, zone read, whatever the hell you want to call it, of any team in the NFL this year, 162. Giants, 88. 6th most is a massive part of both of their rush offenses. Both average 4.8 yards per carry on those option runs. Obviously, there Jalen Hurts at 5th most yards among QBs. Daniel Jones, though, exceedingly effective. One of the most effective quarterbacks in the NFL at knowing exactly when to pull it and leak out that back door, pick up big chunks of yardage. But it'll be interesting to me, Jalen Hurts with that shoulder. Now, he hurt it on an option run. Do they go back to the well? Do they employ that? Because it's such a massive part of their rushing game. Do they even go with it to risk re-injury of their obvious, all-pro quarterback? Or do they just say, hey, we think we still have the advantage up front. We're just going to run normal run concepts and think we can pound it on this Giants defensive line. I don't think that's going to be the case. Giants D-line is formidable. So exactly how both teams employ that quarterback as a runner, I think will dictate a lot in terms of the outcome of this game.
Leak out that back door was an interesting choice of words.
I've seen too many videos nope.
Come on, brother.
Not gonna keep going.
On, brother.
I watched a lot of tape.
Come on, brother. All right, getting us back on track here. I do agree I don't agree with that exact analogy, but I do agree with the fact that there is going to be a debate of how you use Jalen Hurts, knowing that he has gotten hurt, knowing how he got hurt, knowing how he could re-injure himself. How aggressive are you there? I just think all of these things go into this game being closer than people expect. 7.5-point favorites? I think it's disrespectful. We're going to get to that more at the end of the show, but I feel like that's disrespectful for all of the different scripts that could be playing in the New York Giants' favor for this game. The last one that I'm going to go with, Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson last week shadowed
Lights out
Justin Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
And Justin Jefferson, he had a handful of catches. He almost had the touchdown. He was just a few inches short. So he almost had the touchdown to his stat sheet as well. But I felt like for a game that required the Minnesota Vikings to go to their stars in the passing game, to just keep up with the New York Giants, and guess what? They didn't by the end of it. Adoree Jackson deserves a ton of credit for how locked down he was against one of, if not the best wide receivers of the entire NFL season. So I don't know what matchup they're going to go with, because Adoree Jackson, he's more of like a smaller, faster kind of guy that can keep up with different, I would say, okay, Adoree Jackson's going to go up against A.J. Brown, but Brown is more of a bigger, stronger wide receiver. So I feel like that wouldn't help the matchup. But he could go up against a guy like Devontae Smith, I think at least neutralize Devontae Smith the way that he was able to against Justin Jefferson. That was not a point that was talked about enough. Jackson's performance against Justin Jefferson last week, if he has a repeat performance, all of a sudden this incredible duo of pass catchers with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, it becomes a one-trick pony, and you can allocate more resources, more eyes in coverage to A.J. Brown, and I think Wink Martindale knows that, and that's why he deployed it the way that he did against Justin Jefferson and had that confidence to do so.
Yeah, I think everyone just assumes Adoree Jackson stinks because he didn't get his fifth-year option picked up, but he's probably, I wouldn't say top 10 corner, but he's 10 to 20 in the NFL. He's been tremendous when healthy on the football field for the Giants.
Yeah, See, Quell says he will be roasted by A.J. Brown. Adoree's not physical enough. I don't think he's going to go. Yeah, I don't think he's going to go against A.J. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to shut down Devontae with one guy, and then you get multiple players, multiple help defense against A.J. Brown. I think that's what you got to do. I think that's Wink Martindale's probably going to do there. All right, Cowboys 49ers. Last game that we have on here. What's your first point?
My first matchup that I'm very excited to watch is double moves versus Trayvon Diggs. Everyone knows Trayvon Diggs loves, his eyes can get a little antsy. And if you think about this 49ers offense, basically what they major in, what they master in is those slants. Two steps off the line, bang. In route, in breakers, those routes that can be, and they also run some out routes at like 10 yards or so. That's a part of their offense too, but the routes that can be comboed into double moves. That if the 49ers offensive line, if they believe their offensive line can hold up for a little bit, they're going to try to take advantage of, in my opinion, these aggressive Cowboys cornerbacks, and obviously especially Trayvon Diggs, but kind of been a thing of the past. He had 160 yards allowed on double moves back in 2021, only 62 this year. Now some of that is a defensive line stat that no one's even going to try double moves on the Cowboys because they don't think they can hold up to one Micah Parsons for long enough to execute, a 3.5 second type of route. But I think in this game, with how aggressive a guy like Trayvon Diggs is and how much he can take you out if you're just going to run stuff in front of him all game long, I think you're going to see some double moves, and I think it's a matchup to watch.
Trayvon played better this year.
Yeah.
I think it is worth noting. He was less boom or bust this year than certainly a lot of the headlines were with him last year. Didn't get as many interceptions, and so he wasn't as under the microscope as much. But I do think that he was much better in coverage. But double moves are tough against everybody. Any corner that is naturally aggressive like he is. Yeah. So you're right. Maybe that is something that ends up being a major selling point in this game. Shoot, I guess I'll go a little bit out of order here because I had this as my second point, but it doesn't matter if I say it first or not. Micah Parsons versus Trent Williams.
Yeah.
Are we going to get this matchup is what I want to know, because we went into the Bucs versus Cowboys game, and a lot of people were like, ooh, Micah Parsons versus Tristan Wirfs. Can't wait to see it. And I try to tell people, you ain't going to see it, because the Cowboys are smartly going to put Micah Parsons over Donovan Smith and Luke Gadecki on the left side of the line of scrimmage instead. And guess what? They absolutely did that, and Micah Parsons ate Donovan Smith's lunch all game long. I don't know how much we're going to get Micah Parsons versus Trent Williams, but I do think we will get it a little bit. We will see those matchups at times. And so those are two of truly the best in the NFL at what they do going head up against each other. But really, it's just going to be an overall San Francisco 49ers offensive line versus the Dallas Cowboys defensive line. You mentioned it there. Some of the coverage stats has to do with defensive line pressure. And 49ers, how are they going to scheme up almost neutralizing that Cowboys defensive line? I think that Shanahan and company are really good at that as well. So it is an overall Dallas defensive line. How effective can it be? Can they get to Brock Purdy? Can they rattle Brock Purdy? Can they sack Brock Purdy? Because this is, for as well as he is playing, he is a Mr. Irrelevant, and more importantly, he is a rookie. And rookies, when you really get in their face with some of these edge rushers that might be coming a little bit faster than you expect, all of a sudden it rattles you. And you can start to see ghosts, as the saying goes, where you're holding on to the ball, and Micah might not even beat his guy in this play, but in the back of Brock Purdy's head, he's like, what if he does?
Yeah.
So I think that all of that goes into it. If you can get to him early, you might be able to rattle him all game long, even if the pass rush isn't as effective as it was, say, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And that kind of leads into my next point, which is I wrote 49ers wide receivers versus the press coverage of the Dallas Cowboys, which is, can throw off the timing of it. Cowboys run press coverage the fifth most, but it's more just like, what's Dan Quinn's approach going to be? Are we going to see them go up and challenge these wide receivers like they do most games and really try to give their pass rush that time to get home? Or are they going to say, we want our guys off and reading Brock Purdy, reading his eyes because we think he's going to give us a feel and let us have a chance at picks? I'm very curious to see how the Cowboys approach this matchup because kind of thinking what I said about the Bengals, these 49ers wide receivers aren't easy to press. You can get cooked in a hurry against guys like Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk.
Right.
So very curious to see exactly how Dan Quinn thinks they can match up.
Yeah. I don't know what we're going to see. I don't know what Dan Quinn's going to end up deploying. It's so hard to stop this 49ers offense.
You want me to ask him?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
He's my uncle.
Yeah.
You guys got if you told people that, it wouldn't surprise people.
Yeah. Just start wearing it backwards.
You could just say father, actually.
Bald head dude, facial hair.
Yeah.
You can do it. Just start wearing
their job.
Just start wearing the hat backwards, because that's Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's just like always wearing like the backwards hat. Yeah. There it is. Damn.
Dead ringer.
Is that Dan Quinn? If you shave to just have the goatee.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. If they win, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right. I know Sav likes a good facial hair bet, so that's okay. All right. My last point that I have about the Cowboys 49ers before we get into our predictions here. Dre Greenlaw versus Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard led wild card weekend in missed tackles forced.
As we knew. Did we? I think we got that.
Yeah, we got that right. I got that right.
Yeah.
We got that right. Dre Greenlaw is the guy that they, I think, deployed to just say, like, let's go get the ball. Right, Fred Warner is such an incredible linebacker in coverage, so they let him be a little bit further back. Not to say that Fred Warner doesn't go up and make tackles. He does plenty. But there are a lot of situations where Drake Greenlaw and his speed is allowed to play as fast as it is to go out and get ball carriers because of what Fred Warner can do next to him. And I think Talanoa Hufanga and the impact that he has had also goes into that. It's a total defensive thing, but I think more often than not, Drake Greenlaw is going to be the first player to the ball carriers. I just feel like that's going to be the case for the San Francisco 49ers. Can you change those missed tackles forced for Tony Pollard into tackles for Dre Greenlaw? I think that's going to be a massive part of this.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who maybe if you don't watch the 49ers regularly wouldn't know that Dre Greenlaw has more defensive stops this year than Fred Warner. He is involved more around the line of scrimmage than Fred Warner is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why he is going to be the first man to ball carriers often in this game. It's just, can you wrap up? Can you stop those missed tackles, so many that Tony Pollard had last week? Because he's incredible. And that goes for Ezekiel Elliott as well, right? Zeke is certainly in that conversation too. Giants at Eagles, Cowboys at 49ers. Who's winning?
Ooh, I'll take the Eagles to win, and I'll take the Cowboys to upset the 49ers.
Wow.
There you go.
I think you're high. I think the Eagles are going to win, but we'll get to this later in the show. I think the Giants are going to cover in this game. Mm-hmm. I'm taking the Niners to win. What's the final? What's the line right now for the? Did it move at all?
Actually, I'm not sure the final line
for the Cowboys 49ers. You can check and see what the line is. Make sure we're placing these bets appropriately.
It's
Niners -4.
Oh, 4 Niners.
No, it's easy. It's easy money.
All right, I like the boys. ML.
You're high. All right, there we go. Those are our maybe. Those are our predictions for the weekend. Let's get those are our in-game predictions. Now let's get to some bold predictions. So we've talked a little bit about the matchups we think are going to matter most, but now let's put a little bit more emphasis on it. Let's get specific and let's put some bold predictions. I'll give 3 bold predictions. You'll give 3 bold predictions. We would love to hear from the chat as well. Give us your bold prediction on the weekend. Can be, hey, like Mike said, a team upsetting a certain team. It could be a player performance, somebody going over 100 yards, somebody leading the team in this, that. Let us know what your bold prediction is for this upcoming weekend. Mike, what is your first one?
My first one is Chris Jones, the Kansas City Chiefs defensive tackle.
Heard of him.
3 sacks.
3
sacks against these Jags OGs. Just because I think you're going to see a lot of obvious passing situations for this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. And Chris Jones, obvious passing situations. Chris Jones plus, this is an equation, plus obvious passing situations equals 3 sacks. Equals 3 sacks.
3's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what makes it bold. If you said 2, I would have called you a wuss. Right.
But 3.
Yeah. But 3 is 3 in a single game. It's
Let's look up the last time Chris G had 3.
Yeah, please do. I'll go to my first bold prediction. You ready for it?
Yeah.
The week after he throws 4 interceptions, Trevor Lawrence, 0 turnover-worthy plays. 0.
Ooh.
0 turnover-worthy plays.
Turnovers or turnover-worthy plays?
No. I'm going turnover-worthy plays.
So he can have a turnover, though. Or are you predicting no turnovers as well?
Well, you know, since our stats are more accurate because they are more contextual,
this is true.
Then 0 turnover-worthy plays.
Okay, fair. Last time
he
Chris
is
Jones,
going to be responsible for 0 turnovers that happened this weekend.
Hey, I would love to see it.
I would love to see it too. Maybe there's a little manifest. Maybe there's a little manifest from me, but
it's because
I'm gonna go 0.
Hard to throw picks when you're getting sacked by Chris Jones 3 times.
What? Okay, did you figure out how many? When
last time was week 11 of 2021. So it's been a while. So that would be a bold prediction. Should have come to fruition. My next bold prediction is something that has actually happened more recently.
Okay.
But it also, I think, would undeniably be bold. And it is Daniel Jones going for over 100 rushing yards against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. Now, Eagles, second most EPA gained to opposing quarterbacks on scrambles this season. They have guys like Brandon Graham, who's notorious for not being able to corral quarterbacks over the course of his career. Guys like Hassan Reddick, who are not rush lane experts. They let those guys go to work. They let them try to win their one-on-ones. But that also leaves, as Quinn accurately pointed out, back doors for
I think he's just going
to sneak out of.
I think you pointed that out.
I did point that out as well. But as Quinn reiterated. So he's going to leak out some back doors. And he's going to go for 100. He went for 100 against Jacksonville earlier this season, week 7, and he's going to do it again in this game. DJ, 100 yards.
Okay. All right. I'm going through the chat right now looking at some bold predictions. Tyler says Leighton Vander Esch forces 2 turnovers, an interception, and a forced fumble. Vincent says Boston Scott 3 touchdowns.
The best one, DT Dynasty, says Burrow and Allen combined for 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, and Bengals win in overtime.
That'd be a good game.
That is, I think we were talking about like funny situations. It would be very ironic if the Bills lose in an overtime game with the new rules. I will say that would be hilarious, regardless of if the Bengals or the Chiefs.
And they score a touchdown, and then the Bengals
come back, score
2-point conversion.
Yeah.
Okay,
change the rules.
I don't want to see
that.
this.
Would be.
I don't want to see this. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Philip says Trenton Irwin over 50 yards and a touchdown. I'll lose my mind. Jared said Burrow and Allen combined for over 900 yards, but when you go up against DTs over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, it's tough to say that. So, okay, Corbin said one of mine. Jamar Chase over 150 yards receiving. Can't remember if this is my next one. No, this is actually my third one, but I'm just going to go off of it because it's a good transition. I said Jamar Chase is going to get the most receiving yards in a single game that he has had so far this season, which is 132. 132 was, I can't remember which game it was, but I looked it up. That's the most receiving yards he's had in a single game so far this season. I think he surpasses that this weekend. I think they're going to use him a ton. And this is a big-time game. This is on the road. Joe Burrow is going to continue to lean on Jamar Chase like he has so many times before in these big-time performances. So I'm going to say he gets over 132 yards. I don't know if it's going to be like 150 or whatever it is, but he will have the most receiving yards that he has had this season this weekend.
Tuna in a can.
Did we figure out what that word? Did we figure out what that meant? Did you guys? Okay, wait, Bengals guys, did you figure out what the tuna in the can meant?
I think I did, and not saying it on the air.
Okay, all right, sorry. Well,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
We were already talking about leaking out back doors. So,
okay, moving on. Well. Moving on then.
The tuna water that comes out.
Don't stop. Stop. Stop.
I can't.
Stop.
Just put that image in your head.
What's your damn third bold prediction, please?
Oh, Josh Allen leads all quarterbacks in big time throws and turnover-worthy plays this upcoming weekend. Not surprising.
Wait, that's not
that bold because he just did it.
That's not bold. He literally led the season in both of these categories.
Yeah, and he's going to do it. He did it last week, and he's going to do it again this week. So semi-bold. It's kind of bold.
It's weak.
It's pretty bold.
It's not pretty bold.
Well, to lead in both, the odds of that happening are still slim. It's still a slim bet. The odds of that happening, if we're just like purely statisticking it out, have to be like around less than 10% still. I would bet money it's less than 10%. If you just purely did like, if we had Timo here doing crunching the numbers, it'd be less than 10%.
TJ says Ed Oliver 8 pressures. Ollie says the Giants win the game. TJ says light snow in Buffalo. I don't know if that's a bold prediction or if he is simply updating someone who questioned what the weather was like in Buffalo this weekend.
I think that is a fact. I'm going, so I'm a little worried it's going to be freezing.
Yeah, Eli will be on ground reporting for us.
On foot.
Just 1 foot?
Yeah, I'm just going to walk around on 1 foot the whole day.
Okay, all right.
It's going to be like Josh Allen.
TJ says Brandon Ayuk 2 touchdowns in the first half. The buzzer said, Renner, go get some help, man. Victor also says Renner thinks
no help in this.
Renner thinks Sprite is spicy. Damn.
There's a difference.
Nice dude says Renner thinks mayo is spicy.
I mean, Miracle Whip has a little zip to it, man. Come on. You can only put a little bit on.
You guys are the best. Did I get my third one? No, third one. I don't know if this is bold or not. I really wanted to say Christian McCaffrey gets over 100 yards receiving and 100 yards rushing, but that feels like impossible.
He's definitely done it before, right?
I think only like once.
Okay.
So I went 75 and 75.
Okay.
So he's getting at least 75 yards receiving, at least 75 yards rushing. I don't know how bold that is. If it's not that bold, if it's mayo is spicy, bold, then like just up it to 100. I don't care.
Okay. Let's do a little deep dive into Christian McCaffrey's.
If it's ketchup is spicy, then you can. We go 100 to 100.
Okay. It might take a sec. So he's gone over 75 rush yards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games with the 49ers.
Yeah.
7 games on the season. So that's like a less than 50% chance. And then he's gone over 75 receiving yards on actually only it looks like 3 games this season. So that's pretty bold. That's bold enough.
Matt says Renner adds a splash of Aquafina to his tap water to cut the taste. I'm dead.
While we're on the subject, though, Aquafina's trash.
Oh.
Aquafina does have like a taste.
Okay.
I like the taste of Aquafina.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to turn down a bottle of Aquafina, but it's not my
favorite.
Okay,
let's be real about it. It's Dasani versus Aquafina, right?
Mm-hmm. Dasani's way worse.
Oh no, sorry, I'm
Dasani's the one
thinking
that's
of Dasani.
weird.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I take that back. Aquafina's fine. Yeah, Dasani's the one that has the weird taste.
I like Dasani better.
Oh, it's like an acquired taste.
I like
can see
Dasani
that.
better. I don't know if I just like grew up never really drinking.
That's got to be a Florida thing.
It might be a Florida thing. Wait,
Florida water is weird. Florida water is weird.
Wait, do you guys have like? Does Zephyr Hills? Do you guys have Zephyr Hills water? Is that a thing?
I mean, I've had it, but I don't think they.
Okay, because like that is my go-to choice of bottled water.
Okay.
But I think it's only like a southeast.
There's
Florida
a lot
thing.
of regional, like around here, it's Ice Mountain. I think in the Northeast, it's like Poland Springs.
Poland Springs is legit.
Ice Mountain's the one around here. Evian is the best water.
Okay.
If we're.
See, I grew up
where
I grew up in Central Illinois, and you can look this up. Has the highest water quality in the country. So we would just drink it from the tap, and it was very good. Yeah, it's called the Muhammad Aquifer. It was a tremendous underwater aquifer that provides great tasting drinking water. So, but when I go down to Florida and visit my parents, the water down there from the tap is, woof. It's got a zing to it, and I don't love it.
Tella says Dasani's garbage. Jared says Dasani on top. Philip said y'all need to do a blind water taste test. If we did a blind water taste test, I'd be able to tell you exactly what each water is.
I think I could too.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. Debate. Why Big Jordan says both are trash. Wow, we're just trying to stay.
Also, Mike, I think your town has been replaced. Cary, North Carolina, in 2021, highest water quality.
Fuck.
I had to fact check you on that one.
Where's Champaign, Illinois?
Jeff says Dasani's criminal. Tell says Aquafina is just cheap Dasani.
Ice Mountain's the GOAT.
I'm not reading some of these comments. Okay, all right, let's this.
Oh, the city of Aurora has won the 2022. Oh, never mind. I'm an idiot. That's close, but it's best in Illinois. Water is right near where I live, but
you guys need to keep the camera on yourself when you start losing it, because I can hear them in the production portal losing it, laughing.
This show region claims today. Best tasting water in U.S. April 6, 2022. They claim it. So that's
so it's a claim is not the same as an official award.
We get some of that like bottled shit.
Thanks UCF. Claimed national titles, claimed water titles. All right, what's your best bet for the weekend?
My best bet is the same as your best bet. It looks like
it is
the Giants.
Copying my shirt, copying my bets.
Giants like to drag other teams into the mud with them. That's like their MO, as they dictate kind of game flow. And in this game, with Jalen Hurts' shoulder, that teammates after the Week 18 game said they couldn't believe he was playing and how much pain he was in. That's 2 weeks ago.
Who is this?
I don't know that a shoulder injury on your throwing shoulder.
Oh, Jalen.
And Jalen Hurts had the lowest graded game he's had all season long. I don't know that 2 weeks is enough for me to go to bat for him and the Seagulls team right now. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Giants, plus 7.5.
I also think it's a great bet because of what I outlined earlier. The script that the Giants are going to have for this game plays into it being closer than a touchdown. These are two divisional teams. They know each other well. They hate each other. They're trying to eliminate one another. Jalen Hurts is coming off injury. I don't care if he's not on the injury report anymore. I do agree with you. I think it's more of a story than him necessarily just not being on the injury report. And I think the Giants are going to be able to control the clock a lot better than people believe. I don't think this is just going to be a runaway blowout. I don't. Mm-hmm. The Giants' entire makeup of their team, offense and defense, does not play to that. Unless Wink just gets crazy aggressive with his secondary against these wide receivers, and the Eagles wide receivers just go to town on him, then I don't really see this game being that much of a blowout.
I agree.
7.5 is too many points.
Give me a full one-score game, and I'll take it.
Too many points. All right, do we have a question of the day before we get out of here? Oh, the answer to the question of the day? Sorry.
Yep, most turnover-worthy plays in a single season.
I'll go Luck.
Do you have a number in mind?
I'm going to go
48.
I'm going to go Jameis. So he threw 30 picks. So I'm going to go 43. With Jameis, 43.
It is Andrew Luck with 41.
Oh, 41.
In 2012. He had 47 big-time throws.
How many Jameis have?
I think he was second. I can't remember off the top of my head. But all the guesses were good. Roethlisberger was up there. Eli was up there. Carson Palmer was up there. Josh Allen is up there. Has a chance to move even further up the list if Mike's bold prediction comes true.
He does indeed. Turnover-worthy plays in 2019. Jameis Winston, 40. He's one off.
Luck.
Luck's
2012 as well.
Jameis had 33 turnover-worthy plays as a rookie. Lord, this man was out here slinging the pill. Could not have cared less.
Well, that was Luck's rookie year, too.
He looked at the turnover battle and said, I don't give a shit. Man, that is absolutely wild. Eli, I'm jealous you're going to the game, man. Very jealous. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Me too.
I'm pumped.
Are you doing any like tailgating or whatever beforehand? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, my girlfriend's dad apparently has like a lot that they always go to, and they have some people they tailgate with. So,
Are you going to get buffalo wings while you're there?
I mean, hopefully. Okay. I'd be a little upset if I didn't.
Are you going to go through a table physically while you're there?
Question.
I don't know. If they'll allow me to, as a Bengals fan, I will for sure.
Cover the Bengals jersey.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, or don't.
Through,
like
and then once you go through, you rip it off, right? And you reveal the Bengals jersey.
Yeah.
Like midair.
I think that's the move.
Or midair.
That's the play.
Better.
That's totally the play.
Or if you don't want to take off the Bengals jersey, you could just WWE style it, and you could have them, like choke slam you off the roof of the RV, straight into the table.
That's even better.
Yeah. Oh man, it's great football weather too.
What's the football weather?
Low of 30, high of 34. It's like perfect, just like where it's not 30, like right around 30 is great because you're not freezing your nips off in the game, but you still feel like it's winter. It still feels like winter. But once you get to like 20 and below, it sucks. You're not happy with how
you
feel
snow?
From a warm perspective. It may snow a little.
Oh wow, that would be the icing on top right there. All right, do we have a chat champ for the day?
We do.
It's not Mike. I can tell you that right now. It's not
I was
Mike.
very active.
I got to give everybody just a shout out. Chat was awesome today. Everybody deserves it, honestly. We're going to go Tyler Browning. He said his first live show today.
Hell yeah, Tyler.
An all-timer for him to see if this was his first live show. An all-timer.
What a way to end the week.
They aren't all like this.
You unravel, or maybe they are. You'll have to tune in next time to see. You'll have to come back on Monday to see. Congrats, Tyler, for being chat champ of the show. Tyler, that means you get the crown for the weekend. You get to hold the crown for an extra day. But it also means that you got to be back on Monday morning because you got to represent the chat as we are going to recap everything that we see this upcoming weekend. Hopefully you guys enjoy whatever it is you got going on this weekend. Stay safe. We will see you on Monday. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That's Mike Renner. For everybody in the production portal, thank you guys so much for watching It's Just Football. See you on Monday.
It's not about politics, it's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. We're just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
Not just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.